Look under the water, and what do you see? They may look like bright, colorful, vibrant plants, but look again. These are coral. Corals are living animals found in clear, shallow tropical waters around the world. In the Caribbean, over 1/3 of its coral reefs are in the Bahamas, and today, they are under extreme threat of becoming extinct. This is where teens Abby and Heather love to spend their day swimming, scuba diving, and doing their part to help protect and conserve their island's coral reefs. Abby and Heather were born and raised in the Bahamas, Abby in Nassau, and Heather on Grand Bahama Island. They're both marine biology students and volunteers at BREEF, Bahamas Reef Education Environmental Foundation.
I want to know how you got involved with marine conservation.
Growing up here in the Bahamas, I always had a love for the water. They call me a salt life baby.
What about you, Heather?
I was afraid of the water as a kid because I was convinced the seaweed was little tiny fish that would eat me. And then I found out about marine biology through my school's eco clubs. It's just opened my eyes to everything that I didn't know was right in front of my eyes.
Right in front of her eyes is this, the Bahamas Andros Barrier Reef. Coral reefs protect coastlines from storms and erosion, and by providing jobs and tourism opportunities. Over 500 million people depend on reefs for food, income, and protection.
What's happening to corals?
Unfortunately, as we're talking about, is a reoccurring thing. Climate change does affect coral reefs. We see with the increasing temperatures, coral reefs are really, really sensitive. They're real drama queens, but they're great for us because even the slightest change in stimuli or environment could off-put them.
You mean water temperature, when it gets a little warmer, that causes the bleaching, them to go white, lose all their color?
The process that's going off is them expelling their algae. And so the algae is a symbiotic relationship they have with zooxanthellae. So they live together in turn. The zooxanthellae gives them the majority of their nutrients that they need to live, up to 95%. And so when they lose that, they're ultimately on their road to starvation, unfortunately. They ultimately expel their algae and they're ultimately starving themselves.
Wow.
Many studies over the last 5 to 10 years indicate that all reefs could be lost by the year 2050. And that's where BREEF comes in. Alison Longley is the Education and Outreach Officer at BREEF, and she says the foundation is dedicated to educating Bahamians and visitors about protecting the coral reefs that protect them.
We run many educational programs to connect our youth with the marine environment.
How do you bring other children into this conversation? Kids watching at home right now, how do you bring them into ocean conservation and get them excited about this?
You can help our coral reefs even if you live in a landlocked country. Something as little as unplugging your devices at home, or taking shorter showers, or riding your bike instead of driving to school every day, or carpooling is a good option.
In 2020, BREEF opened the world's largest underwater sculpture garden, a snorkeling and diving experience used as an underwater classroom to teach kids about the importance of coral reef conservation.
So Alison, the sculpture garden is just right there where you see those white buoys, right?
It's really convenient because it's only a short swim.
What some of the things they're going to be doing?
We have to maintain our corals on a weekly basis. So we go out there, visit our coral tree, make sure everything's okay with the tree itself. And then we actually clean the monofilament line with a small brush so that algae doesn't overgrow onto the corals itself. Because of course, corals are very sensitive animals and they don't like algae. So they're hanging off a fishing line, essentially. And so we're cleaning that fishing line to make sure no algae overgrows the coral.
And have you seen a change in attitude? Are people more informed and appreciative of what corals do for our ecosystems?
Absolutely, especially for our students that have never even been in the water past their knees. And then they get to put on a mask and snorkel and fins and go experience the coral reefs for the very first time.
It's a new world.
It's such a rewarding feeling for us and them.
What would be your message from Reef?
I'd say a lot of the time you have a lot of young kids who dream of working in environments that we get with the beautiful beaches and coral reefs right at the swim of the flick of a fin. But they get discouraged because they might live in a landlocked country or don't really have access to the ocean. But that shouldn't discourage them from wanting to conserve marine environments and be a part of even activism or ensuring their dream in even learning about science and even talking about coral reefs in their communities and to their community leaders could really make a difference for marine environments.